Hey everyone, welcome to this three-finger style banjo lesson on I Walk the Line. Now, I will be showing you how to play this tune, but really this lesson is going to be about a couple things. Because I really like to use this tune to teach transposition, because every time Johnny Cash plays this song, or plays the tune, we modulate to a different key. Which means we have to understand what the function of these chords are, and we need to know a system, Nashville numbering system, or I guess just any other system of the functions, to figure out how to transpose it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about understanding transposition, understanding chord function, and then I'm going to show you a really dirty, easy trick to play in closed position. So closed position meaning we don't use any open strings. To play any simple tune like this in any key, just without even thinking much. So that's going to happen. Then I'm going to talk about the kind of connecting lines, these bass runs that if you listen to the original tune, the guitar does. I'm going to show you an arrangement of that for the intro, and we'll talk a little bit about doing variations on that and all that stuff later. So I'm going to play through it. We'll talk about the tune, we'll talk about transposition, we'll talk about these bass lines and variations, and then at the end I'll kind of play through the tune, have the tab of the bass lines, and have all the information up on the screen when I do it. But first things first, I'm going to play through this tune so you can hear it. And I'm going to have to go through about 3 verses just so you hear the different keys. Okay, 1, 2, 1. First key. I keep a close watch on this heart of mine. I keep my eyes wide open all the time. I keep the ends out for the tie that binds. Because you're mine, I walk the line. Next key. I find it very, very easy to be true. I find myself alone when each day is through. Yes, I'll admit that I'm a fool for you. Because you're mine, I walk the line. Next key. As sure as night is dark and day is light, I keep you on my mind both day and night. And happiness I've known proves that it's right. Because you're mine, I walk the line. Back down. Then you do it here, and then you move down to E, and then you do it there. Okay, so that's the whole tune. So let's talk about doing this tune. So, actually, you know what I'm going to do? Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to learn in the key of A first with these closed positions. So when we're playing in the key of A, we need to know 3 chords. And we're not going to do the, we're not going to put a capo on and play it in A like this. We're actually just going to do a chord. So we're going to start with the F shape, if you know the F shape. And we're going to put it here on the 7th fret of the 4th string. We have a nice A. Whole thing I did here, I didn't do any little variations. I just did this, what I call the no 5th roll. So I'll put that up there as well. And I'll maybe leave that up for a lot of this. Okay, so we have the A chord. The other 2 chords we need are D and E. Now we could jump down here and get E and D, but we don't really want to do that. We want to get the closest ones we can. So if A's here, well, D is really quite close. I can just do this bar shape here. So we have this A, we have this D, we have A again, and then E is just back a fret with this D shape, right? I'll put all the stuff up there we have. Okay, now one thing that's confusing about this tune is when the singing starts, the start of the 16-bar phrase here actually is on a on the E chord. So it starts with I keep a close, and then it starts with I keep a close watch. So it starts with the E chord. So if we're on the A here, as soon as the singing comes in, I keep a close, that's E chord, back to the A chord. Then we repeat that, go to the E chord, then up to the A chord. Now here comes the D chord, back to the A chord, then again the E chord to the A chord. That's it. That's the tune. That's the whole thing that we do. So, if we want to be able to play that in different keys, we don't have to. I'm going to show you. First, I'm going to talk about the understanding of playing things in different keys. Then I'm going to show you this little trick about playing in closed position. Okay, talking about the functions here. So there's different languages around functions, right? We have, if you're classically trained, you refer to the home chord as being the tonic, and then this next chord, the D chord here, would be the subdominant, and the E chord there would be the dominant chord, right? But most of us in pop, rock, and jazz refer to these chords as the 1, the 4, and the 5. And the reason is because they're literally, if we play it, we're in the key of A, the A is the first note of an A scale, so that's our 1. And if we go up and play a major scale, which is just do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, and we give each one of those numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, there's 7 notes, you'll notice that the fourth note, 1, 2, 3, 4, is a D, and the fifth note is an E. And you might earlier have thought, like, why is it that we only have 7 letters, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, there's no H, to describe 12 notes? And this is the reason, is because we often refer to things in scales. And because scales only have 7 notes, the 8th note being the octave, where it repeats, we just give each one a letter. So in an A scale, or any scale, all of these scales major scales, will all, have one of each of the notes. An A, a B, a C, a D, a E, a F, a G. Although some of them can be sharp, some of them can be flat, and we don't really know. But so a quick trick, this is a little bit of a quick trick to figure out transposition, is you can just count up on your hand. So if I'm in the key of A is 1. If I want to know the 4, I can just go up the alphabet. A, B, C, D, and the 5 is E. Now that doesn't always work out, and the reason is you don't know if it's sharp or flat. It could be sharp, it could be flat, but that gets you in the right general ballpark, right? And generally, if you're in the key of A and you're like, I think it's maybe C sharp, you can hear that it's quite wonky. Now, if you want to be a bit more precise, well, you could go through a major scale on whatever key you're playing, but there's also a little bit of a trick that I always think of as a hockey stick trick, because I'm Canadian. But the way it works is you go on the 4th string and you find the note you want. In this case, that's a G. Here's an A. So if I want the 4, it's just the string down. So if this is 1, that's going to be a 4, and 2 frets up, it's going to be a 5. So you get this little L, or hockey stick, and that will always tell you the correct notes, as long as you're going off the thick string. So in the key of A, it's A, D, and E. If I want a G, I'll go to G here. This is G. Well, down the string is going to be C, and up 2 frets is going to be D. Now, here's one that would actually be wrong. If we were thinking F, I could count on my fingers and go F, G, there's no A, F, G, there's no H, so it goes to A. F, G, A, B should be our 4, and 5 should be our C. Well, if I double check with this hockey stick method, there's F, I go down a string, well, that's not a B, B, it's a B flat, which kind of looks like BB when it's written. So there's our B flat. So in the key of F is our 1 chord, the 4 is B flat, and our 5 is C. Okay? So there's your method for figuring out 1, 4, and 5. Now, let's go back and do the chords of this tune, thinking of them as 1, 4, and 5, and then we'll talk about this trick of transposition. So again, in the key of A, we're not going to think of this as A anymore, we're going to think of this as the 1 chord, right? Okay, so starts on the 5 chord. I keep a 5, then back to the 1, then I go back to the 5 again, then up to the 1, here comes the 4 chord, back to the 1 chord, then the 5 chord, then to the 1 chord, right? Now if we think about it in this way, where this is 1, this is 5, this is 1, this is 4, then we don't actually have to know any of the chords that we're playing, other than the first chord. So if I just take that shape and just move it somewhere, I don't even have to look. Whatever key this is, I can just do the song in this key. And if this is 1, the shape movement still stays the same. 1, 4, 1, 5. So I could do it in that key and not even think about it. So you could actually just try doing whatever key you want. Or if someone's saying, oh, hey, let's play this song in the key of F, all you got to do is just put this first finger on F. And there you go. So that's kind of the trick with this closed position playing. Now, let me show you how to do it in the keys that we played in the tune. So A is one of the keys. The other 2 keys that we play are the 4th and the 5th of A. So we play it in D. So the easiest way to do this is we move the A chord all the way up to D. Now, really, if I was playing this, I would probably play a different position, but it's really nice to know this trick, so it's a good thing to practice. So here's our D chord, so we can find the 1, 4, and 5 there. So there's 1, there's 4, there's 1, there's 5. And if we figure out those chords, you can do it on your finger, D, E, F, G, G, and A. Well, is that right? I could do the little hockey stick thing, D, G, A. Yeah, that's right. So D, G, D, A. But I'm just going to think of it as 1, 4, and 5. 5 to the 5 chord, back to the 1 chord, then to the 5 chord, then to the 1 chord. Here comes the 4 chords, too high for me, da 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 da. Then to the 5 chord, back to the 1 chord. All right. Now the other key that we do it in is going to be the E chord key. So we could just move this up here to the E that's way up here, but that's getting high. So what we're going to do is we're going to play the E down here, open E. So this is actually the same shape that we have. So this is going to be a little bit tougher. I'll put the chord shapes up as we go. It's the same shape as the F shape that we're doing, but because we have an open string, we're just going to do it with different fingers. So our 4 chord is still going to be just kind of straightening that same string. It's an A chord here. But unfortunately, we can't make this 5 chord. Everything is 2 below the fret. So in the key of E, the 5 chord, the easiest 5 chord to get is going to be this B7. So this is what I'm going to recommend to play here. Right? So we have our 1 chord is the E, 5 chord is this B7, 1 chord, and then A chord is the 4. Right? Now, just so you kind of understand, these dominant chords, the 7 chords, I don't know why I put that in quotations, dominant 7 chords, right? So for example, E7, they will always sound good as the 5th, I mean, if they're appropriate aesthetically, like in the genre, they will always sound good as the 5th chord. So if you see, like if you're playing in the key of A, you can't just play A7 anytime you want. But in the key of A, the 5th is A, B, C, D, E. When the E chord comes up, you could pretty much always play that as E7. You're never going to have a problem with it. Some, depending on what genre you're playing, or sometimes the voices could be a bit weird, but that's totally up to your ear. You can, if you're playing in the key of A, make those E's E7s as much as you want. Okay, but let's do it in the key of E. So in E, we're going to go to the B chord for the 5. I keep a 5 chord back to the 1 chord. I go to the 5 chord. I can use my thumb if I wanted to the 5 chord and the 1 chord. Then here comes the 4th chord, then the 1 chord, back to the 5 chord, then to the 1 chord. There you go. And those are all the 3 keys that we play it in. So at the end of this video, after I talk about these like bass runs and stuff, I'm going to put up, I'll do it again with the information and the chord shapes on the screen so you can kind of understand it and see it and play along. But let's talk about these bass run-ups. So the intro of this tune is actually going through those 3 key centers, A, D, A, E, and just kind of getting the ear used to that modulation. So the way they do it is they have, and the guitar plays this, but the guitar plays a bass run up to each of those chords, right? And I'll show it to you, and then we'll kind of talk about what's happening and how we can, if we understand what's happening, how we can change it and do a couple variations. Okay, so here's the first run. And what essentially we're doing is we're going to A, and so we just actually go the last 1, 2, 3 notes of an A scale that lead us to an A. So to do that, probably the trickiest part here is we have to start on beat 2, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Because we want that A, the chord, the root of the chord, to come on beat 1. So you get this 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and that's our line. But what we're going to do is we're just going to play it with octaves here. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Very important that you get this when you hit that A, that you're getting it with your 3rd finger. Most of the time it's going to be 3rd and pinky because that's the shapes that we want. So we have A. Then we're going to go up to the D chord. So we're just going to go exact same run. We're basically connecting this A note to this D note with those notes. Then we're going to go back down from the D to the A. Then we're going to connect the A to the E. Now it's a little bit weird when we go up to the B, because it's a little further, and then we're going to go back down to the E. Okay, the tab was up there, but I'll kind of go through it a little bit with the tab so you can see it. But I just want to mention something here. So let's take, for a case, from this A to the D. Essentially, you can see it like physically in our hands because we're doing it essentially on one string, or we're just connecting that A note to the D note. And the notes we're using are just the notes of an A major scale. And so they sound pretty in, right? But the logic, you could use whatever notes that are between that to get kind of different colors. As long as you're having that same idea of connecting that A to the D, you could, you know, sounding kind of weird. But it still has that same logic. So you get different colors for trying out different things. So a really common one might be like, it's a little more bluesy, or so you can kind of figure out those connections between. You can experiment with which ones you like the sound of and which ones are like a color that you like. Just experiment and kind of come up with different ones. But I have a variation in the tablature. If you're wanting a copy of the tab, it's there, and you'll see it when I go through it. So actually, now that I've talked about that, let me just play through it. So I'm going to play through the intro, and then I'll play through a variation I wrote out. So you have the tablature that you can mix and match them, or experiment with coming up with your own ones. Okay, so this is the intro that I have written out. 1, 2, 1. It's in there. Okay, now here's the variation one that I did that I think is a little bit more bluesy. That note I played there was a little more bluesy. The one wrong one. But here's with the little variations. I think I got this. 1, 2, 1. That's just a nice little variation to do there. Okay, last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put 1, 4, and 5 for all the keys. The shapes up here, and I'm just going to play with it and maybe like do some little graphic things like a circle that moves from the keys that we're in. Okay, oh, and I should probably mention, when we change keys, we use those same walk-ups to get between keys. We go from A to D, we use the same walk-up that we did in the intro. And bam, we're done. Okay, so this is the way it goes. We start in the key of E. I keep a 5 chord, back to the 1 chord, and the 5 chord, which is B, back to the 1 chord. Here comes the 4 chord, back to the 1 chord, then here's the 5 chord, back to the 1 chord. Then we do the walk up to A. Now we're in the key of A, and Johnny Cash loves to go, which helps, like, that hum like gets you in the key really easy, so now we know. I find it very 5 chord, then to the 1 chord. Here comes the 5 chord, back to the 1 chord. Then we got the 4 chord, down to the 1 chord. Here comes the 5 chord, back to the 1 chord. Now we're in A, so we're going to go to D with just the lead up. In D, we're going to do sorry. As sure as 5 chord goes to a 1 chord. Here comes the 5 chord, back to the 1 chord. Then we got the 4 chord. Here comes the 1 chord, back to the 5 chord. Here comes the 1. So then we go down to the D, to the A again. Oops. And we do it in A, and then we go down to the E, and do it in E one more time, and then the tune ends. Okay, well I hope you learned a lot in this. I know this is going to be quite useful to some of my students for little tricks and trades, but yeah, I hope you enjoy it. If you're liking what I'm doing and you'd like to see more of it, please check me out on Patreon, where you can find the tabs for this and lots more, and support me so I can do more things. But till later, bye.